Hello guys, how are we doing? Welcome back to another video today. I've got game week 43 of the Championship review for you, so really not long now left, just 3 games left this season for the majority. Yes, let's get straight into a pretty big week of football. Lots of important games this week at both the top and the bottom of the table. So Villa beat Leeds 2-0 on Friday. Sheffield United drew 1-1 with Millwall. That was the early kickoff on the Saturday. Barnsley drew... I'm reading from the wrong thing, aren't I? Yeah, Villa beat Leeds at 1-0. I meant Barnsley beat Bolton. Nope. No, good try, Sam. Barnsley drew Bolton 2-2. Big game that was. Burton beat Derby 3-1. Sheffield Wednesday won at Hull. Borough beat Bristol 2-1 after being 1-0 down. Cardiff won at Norwich. Forest beat Ipswich. QPR lost at home to Preston. Reading drew with Sunderland. Fulham drew with Brentford. And Wolves beat Birmingham on Sunday to seal their promotion to the Premier League. A routine win for Aston Villa against that Leeds side, badly out of form pretty much since the new year. And Lewis Grabban got the only goal of the game, and the result didn't do too much for Villa as didn't do too much for Villa as the other teams won, but still good for them to get a win, and it did guarantee their playoff place. The spoils share between the two newly promoted clubs, and this was a big game in terms of the playoffs, and a draw for Millwall that ensured they held on to their playoff place at the moment. 6th, decent game of football. Liam Clark scored for Sheffield United, and then Millwall went up the other end straight away and scored through Steve Morrison. And yes, leaves Sheffield United 9th, and Millwall still hanging on to 6th. Certainly one of the biggest games of the day, and it wasn't a letdown in terms of entertainment. Barnsley were 1-0 up, and then Bolton scored 2 quick goals in the second half to lead 2-1, and then McBurney for Barnsley got a last-minute equaliser, which surely would have maybe sealed Barnsley's fate, I have to say, so that could prove a crucial point in the running. And yeah, Barnsley travel to Leeds next, where their old manager, Paul Heckingbottom, is, so they'll be looking to get some revenge there, and Bolton host Wolves. A first home win in, I think, 18 games for Burton Albion, and it came beating local rivals Derby County, not in terms of the table, but geographically. Anyway, so yeah, Burton took the lead. Derby responded pretty instantly, but then a couple of decent goals finished it off for them, and a late penalty save as well rubbed the salt in the wounds for Derby, who drop out of the playoff places for the first time in a while. And as for Burton, it doesn't do too much for them, but you never know. They've got Sunderland next, so if they win that and then win their remaining games, who knows in the Championship. A good win for Sheffield Wednesday at a Hull side have been in very good form of later. Jordan Rhodes scored the only goal of the game on about the 15th minute, and yeah, good run of form at the moment for Sheffield Wednesday, looking to finish that season strong. As for Hull, minor setback for them, and just about needing maybe another 3 points to guarantee their survival. A tricky game though next. Again against Bristol City, and as for Sheffield Wednesday, it's a home game against Reading. A vital win for Middlesbrough in this playoff clash between them and Bristol City, although you'd think they're not that close, saying that now one is 5th and one is 11th, but they were very close. And yeah, Bristol City took the lead early on through Juric, but goals from unlikely sources for Borough. 2 defenders, Friend and Ayala, getting on the score sheet for them. Second win in 3 for them, and up to 5th now, so looking good for them next. A big one away to Derby, and as for Bristol, it's a home game against Hull. A vital win for Cardiff against a Norwich side with, nothing to play for. And although it wasn't that easy for Cardiff, they had to wait till the 87th minute to get themselves a winner. But nevertheless, it doesn't matter how you win at this stage of the season in their case. And they moved up to 2nd place, and it's back in their control. Automatic promotion. So it's a massive win that was for Cardiff. And a home game against Forest next. As for Norwich, it's an away game at Preston. A first goal in over 10 hours, I think, for Nottingham Forest, and then came another one just 5 minutes later in injury time as they beat managerless Ipswich 2-1. Ipswich were winning that game for a large amount, and then Forest got 2 late goals, so I'm not really sure what to say. I think looking at most Ipswich fans, they weren't actually too bothered, as they said their side had actually played some attacking football for once, but whatever floats your boat, I guess. Tricky games for these two though next. Forest travel to Cardiff, and Ipswich host Villa. Preston kept their playoff hopes alive with a second win on the trot, and a win at QPR, who have been thrashing teams at home recently, Norwich and Sheffield Wednesday of late. But they were trailing Preston, then Callum Robinson with 2 goals to get them 3 points, and you never know, they still could make those playoffs, just 3 points off, I think. And it's it's been tight for most of the season, but even tighter now thanks to this result. But up to 8th place now for Preston, and at home game it's Norwich for them next, whereas for QPR it's a London derby away at Brentford. A decent game at the Madejski Stadium, which pretty much, I think, seals Sunderland's fate and leaves them rooted to the foot of the table. So yeah, Reading were beating Sunderland at first, and then a good response from them. They were 2-1 up, and a great goal from Paddy McNair. That's one of my goals of the week. And then Kermagant for Reading responding, and yeah, 19th and still not 100% safe, but pretty much safe now. As for Sunderland, yeah, not looking good for them. Although they only lost 1 and 5, you can see that 3 draws and definitely a 6-pointer against Burton next week. Let's just say. A last gasp equaliser from Neil Morpie sealed a point for Brentford in this game between two very informed sides. At the moment, you can see that no losses at all over those 10 games, and it was a bad one, or in terms of for Fulham. They were leading thanks to Mitrovic in the second half, but yeah, it's a bit of a sucker punch, and it pretty much now leaves it firmly in Cardiff's hands, whoever takes automatic promotion. But you never know. Wolves, who had their promotion already sealed thanks to that result between Brentford and Fulham, they capped it off in style and now left themselves just 1 point from being champions with a 2-0 win over Birmingham City, who are still firmly in that relegation mix thanks to this result. And a big game for them next against Sheffield United, whereas yes, Wolves away game at Bolton won't be easy, to be fair. Bolton have got a lot to play for, but a win there or a point there seals them as champions. Okay, moving on to our summary then. So, result of the game week gave to Burton Albion for that first home win in a long time, and beating Derby County, local rivals, as well. Most important victory, either Borough for their playoff win over Bristol City, or Cardiff for their win at Norwich, which put the automatic promotion race firmly back in their hands. Goal of the game week, Paddy McNair for Sunderland, fantastic strike from about 30 yards out. Prediction score, okay this week, 6 correct results and 2 correct scores. Promotion, I'm still backing Wolves. Wolves are up now, of course, and yeah, I'm still back in Cardiff like I did all those weeks ago, even when they went through a little rough patch a couple of weeks ago. Said I'd back them because I thought, Fulham might drop a couple of points, and yeah. So yeah, Cardiff I think will seal that second spot in a couple of weeks' time. Relegation, Burton and Sunderland I think are still firmly down despite Burton's win, although I think they play each other next week, so if they both draw that, then maybe both of them might go down in the same game together. But yeah, that's a summary for game week 43. And we have a look at the table as usual. So you can see there Wolves guaranteed now promotion on 95 points, and Cardiff at 1 point ahead of Fulham with a game in hand, albeit that is against Derby, which will not be easy for them. But even a point at Derby, it could be seen as a pretty good result. And Fulham have a tough game at Millwall next. Villa guaranteed their playoff place there. Middlesbrough and Millwall occupying 5th and 6th, both on 69 points, and then Derby with that game in hand on 68. So technically you could say it's still in Derby's hands, but yeah, got tough games for them. They've got Borough to play, and of course that game against Cardiff. Preston, Sheffield United, Brentford and Bristol City all still in there, but certainly you'd say it's going to be 2 of the 3 from Borough, Millwall and Derby. Well, I think that's what I'm predicting anyway. Yeah, mid-table mix, 12th, 13th and 14th. The race for 12th, Ipswich winning it to add to the moment. And then you can see there's a little race for 15th as well. Looks like QPR are going to take that. And then at the bottom of the table, you can see that result for Burton lifting them above Sunderland into 23rd. And then Barnsley, of course, have that game in hand. Another message, need to stop that, don't I? So they could still get out of the bottom 3 and push Birmingham and Bolton below. But yeah, a lot of big games coming up for them. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting battle to the death. Looking ahead to next week's fixtures then, it starts on the Friday with a big game between Millwall and Fulham. It's not going to be easy for either team. You've got to remember that both of them are unbeaten. I think Fulham are unbeaten in 19 games and Millwall in 15, so maybe something's got to happen, or maybe it's just going to be a draw. Birmingham play Sheffield United, Bolton play Wolves, Brentford play QPR, Bristol City play Hull, Derby against Borough, big game in the playoffs there. Ipswich play Villa, Leeds play Barnsley, Preston play Norwich, Sheffield Wednesday play Reading, Sunderland play Burton, bottom of the table clash there, and Cardiff play Nottingham Forest in the late kickoff. So, yep, the table next week could look very different in terms of the playoff picture, but also might look the same if those teams keep maintaining their runs of form. So yes, getting very interesting now, and I have to say, so the Cardiff game was my last Norwich home game, and I'm not really that disappointed because it's been a really poor season from us at home. So, yeah, that's the last football game I'm going to watch this season. I'll stop those messages. But yeah, thank you very much for watching as usual, guys. And a voice crack to finish the video, and I'll see you later.